Okay, so we're gonna jump right into it today. So, what is tonality? Well, in short, what's up, Amar? How are you? All right. So, in short,
So
tonality is how you say something.
he just
All right. So, I know theoretically this definition sounds very, very simple and very basic. And it's because it is, but the impact of it is extremely significant. It's really, really, really significant. Remember this phrase. Okay. Remember this phrase. Tonality is destiny. Okay. What do I mean by that? Well, attention now, like today in this day and age, with the Internet of Things, attention is at a premium. And what I mean by that specifically is everyone and everything around you is trying to get your attention. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. We could start by talking about social media, right? Like Facebook. Facebook's trying to keep your attention. Why are they trying to keep your attention? Well, so you could scroll past their advertisements or click on their advertisements and they could get funds from it so they could collect data from you. TikTok, perfect example of how their algorithm works. Their algorithm works by pushing out content that they know you like, whether it's based off the posts that you've interacted with or based off of what's commonly, the most popular ones, what people generally agree with. And so pushing those content out so you could stay on the app. Literally walk outside and you'll see the most creative of advertisements out there, all of them trying to get your attention. Netflix is another example. Netflix will recommend you shows that are similar to what you're watching because they know that's what you like. This is them trying to keep your attention. Now, how do you stand out from someone else when everyone else is throwing out a bunch of these messages to you, right? And that's I guess the important question here. And the difference between someone who stands out and someone who doesn't is tonality. That's the difference. All right, so the more the more tones that you hold or the more tones that you use in a sentence. That was not said correctly. Let me bring that back. The more tonality that you use, the more attention you hold. That's why if you listen to someone who's very monotone, right? They just have one common way of talking. It gets so depressing. Yeah, those people are boring. All right, that way of talking is just our brain is used to pattern interrupt. All right, and what I mean by that is because of the amount of things that are going on around us so often and so quickly, our brain is used to having the pattern being interrupted. If we're constantly doing one thing, this is why we get bored in lectures, right? We're constantly doing one thing, just one thing at the same time, and our brain is just it's in a neutral state. Your brain wants action. It's just in a neutral state though, and because of that, you're just gonna end up you're gonna end up losing attention basically. So again, let me say that one more time. The more tonality you use, the more attention you hold, and attention does equal to value. Okay. There was a study done by researchers, and basically, through a voice call. All right. So the point of their study was to check to check if people were depressed strictly through a voice call. Okay. And what they figured out at the end was that people were what they figured out at the end was I don't want to get this wrong. Yeah. So what they figured out was that just based off of their voice, they could tell whether someone was depressed or not. All right. And what was directly linked to someone who was depressed was monotone, people who were monotone, and people who were more vibrant, people who weren't depressed, used multiple tones at the same time, right? So there's a direct link between these. So okay, and this is what's really really important with regards to tones. Okay, it's not that there's a specific tone that you should use in order to stand out per se, or a specific group of tones. No, but what it is about what's really really important here, and if you're to take anything away from the lesson, it'd be this. Okay, it's to use multiple tones at the same time. Well, not yeah, to use multiple tones in the same sentence or at the same in the same talk that you're having. You want to use multiple tones. And to simplify the basics of tonality, remember these three letters: V, S, P. V stands for voice, S stands for speed, and P stands for pitch. I'm going to give you an example right now as I describe what these are, okay? So, for V, volume, sometimes you want to talk a bit louder, other times you want to bring it down a bit. You want to do this, again, in the middle of talking. You just want to alternate between them. Speed is the other one. Sometimes you want to talk really, really fast, other times you do want to talk a bit slower, right? And then pitch would be, sometimes you kind of want to have a higher pitch, and other times, you just want to have a lower pitch. And again, you want to mix and match between all of these consistently. So consistently, while you're in the middle of talking, you want to just alternate between these. I have a paragraph. Can I get a volunteer to read a paragraph while actively using these? So the volume, speed, and pitch. I'm going to share my screen. Can I get a volunteer?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right.
Depends on the content.
I'll do it too. Oh yeah, depends on the content. What the heck?
It's a good, bro. What do you mean? Like, what kind of content are we talking
You
about?
making us read 50 Shades of Grey or something? Nah.
All right, so this is the paragraph that I just want you to read. So whenever you're ready, again, I want you to actively think about changing the volume, speed, and pitch. Again, while reading it, it doesn't need to be perfect, okay? You're just, right now, it's just a matter of implementing these, and then sooner rather than later, sooner rather than later. I know that's not. There's another term. But basically, you'll kind of figure out your own pattern and whatnot as things go along. So yeah, feel free to go ahead and read through it.
All right. During the first part of your life, you only become aware of happiness once you have lost it. Then an age comes, a second one, in which you already know, at that moment when you begin to experience true happiness, that you are, at the end of the day, gonna lose it. When I met Belle, I understood that I just entered this second age. I also understood that I haven't reached the third age, in which anticipation of the loss of happiness prevents you from living.
Wait, did anyone hear a change in speed?
A bit.
Did, yeah. Also, this passage
It could have been better.
Yeah, I want you to do that one more time. Focus on one, also expressing it just a bit more, just like overall, just like expressing it a bit more, and just I didn't hear as much speed difference as could be. I want you to just try to push yourself as much as you can right here, and then the volume as well. Like try and at times go pretty loud, and then slowly come down, and then come
It's
pretty
just
low as well.
usually when it's on the highlight of the word or the sentence. For example, during the first part of your life, that's when you like increase and decrease.
Yeah. Do you want? Amar, do you want to go? Do you want to try?
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess so. Okay, so during the first part of your life, you only become aware of happiness once you lose it. Then an age comes, a second one, in which you already know. At that moment, when you begin to experience true happiness, that you are at the end of the day going to lose it. When I met Billy, I understood that I just had entered the second age. I also understood that I hadn't reached the third age yet, in which anticipation of the loss of happiness prevent you from living.
That was good. That was good. That was good. Does anyone else want to go, or?
Let me go.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. During the first part of your life, you only become aware of happiness once you have lost it. Then an age comes, a second one, in which you already know at that moment when you begin to experience true happiness, that you are at the end going to lose it. When I met Belle, I understood that I just entered the second age. I also understood that I hadn't reached the third age, in which anticipation of the loss of happiness prevents you from living.
I like the middle part. And I finally understand why you like put a lot of comments. You wanted to, I think, change the certain pitches, which I didn't do in the beginning. So yeah, and the middle part was really good.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This was
all right.
I found.
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh no, so this is a sample paragraph that I found. It was just like I just found it as.
I know it has a lot of commas. That's why you can't
Maybe I should try.
use the
All right,
speed.
yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it. Definitely.
Okay, let me give this a try.
Yeah.
I won't have the same power that the last guy had.
I'm pretty sure you
But
will, but okay.
Let's see. Yo, let's see, bro. Let's go.
All right. I can't keep a straight face while doing this. Okay. During the first part of your life, you only become aware of happiness once you've lost it. Then an age comes, a second one, in which you already know at that moment when you begin to experience true happiness, then you are, at the end of the day, gonna lose it. When I met Belle, I understood that I had entered the second age. I also understood that I hadn't reached the third age, in which anticipation of loss of happiness prevents you from living.
Damn.
Yo, you made that sound like a depressing story, bro.
No, isn't that the point to get like your attention using different tones?
You did. Yeah. No.
Yeah, give him a round of applause. Way!
The boy's
That
depressed.
was it.
Man.
No, like you
Try
could,
to make it as depressing as possible.
you can make anything sound as happy as possible or as depressing as possible, and he did exactly that. He made it sound as depressing as possible. So I got to give you credit for that, though.
It sounded like an author, so. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounded like an ebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, you should consider reading ebooks.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to Audible a lot, so I guess that's where I get it from.
Cool. That's awesome. Okay. So I want to now move on to the next part. And basically in this part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over 5 techniques that you could use to improve your overall, I guess, usage of different tones. Okay. So these are 5 techniques that chances are you already use in your everyday life. It's just, you might not actively think about it, but I'm sure you use these, and if you haven't, now would be a great time to integrate it. All right. So the first one is called punching. All right, and basically all it is you're giving emphasis to one word, or multiple words if it's a special sentence, but generally you give emphasis to one word in a sentence. For example, okay, so that sentence can be read in 2 ways. You could either read it as the real truth behind success is, or you could put emphasis on the word real, and you could say the real truth behind success is. And basically you want to put emphasis on things that are of importance, or something that stands out, something that you want to stand out from the rest. You just put emphasis on that word. Generally, you might want to do these with power words. So any word that could evoke emotion, that's when you want to use punching specifically. The second one is elongation, and basically what it means is to enunciate a word slower than normal. So you just want to read it slower. Okay. So, for example, there is the secret high intensity training. You could read it as that, or you could read it as this. Sorry, I butchered that. For example, you could read it as the secret is high intensity training, or you could read it as the secret is high intensity training. All right, so you're basically reading the words slower. Sorry, what was that?
Are we gonna try this out too?
We certainly could. Do you mind if I go through everything? No, I'm gonna go through everything, and then I think we have enough with 5. So I'm gonna go through everything and have you all just select which one you want, and you'll come up with an example. Cool. All right. So elongation, again, just enunciating a word slower. That's it. The next one is pre-recognition. This one is actually a tricky concept. It was tricky for me to sort out what it was and whatnot. But basically, it's when you have a statement and instead you ask it as a question. Basically, when you tend to, there's some psychology behind this, where when you tend to ask someone if they remember something, right, and that involves them and whatnot, they generally don't want to be seen as, someone who forgets it and whatnot. Sometimes you'll meet someone who's like, hey, I remember you, and then realize, and then but you don't remember them, or you don't recognize them, but you're like, oh hi, you just continue as if you know them, because like you don't want to feel better. This is a prime example of that. This is actually a technique that's used a lot in sales. It's used a lot. So for instance, instead of saying hi, this is Hafiz from York University, you'd be like, hi, this is Hafiz from York University, and you're basically giving them the impression that, oh, like, yeah, I do know you didn't forget me, right? That's the impression you're giving people. People don't want to admit that they don't know something, so this is a great way of getting them to. It's a great way of getting them to admit, getting them to play along per se. I feel like this one's used more. It's more effective when trying to sell a concept or an idea or something like that.
Also been used a lot in
I
film as well.
We'll do those three right before I jump to the next one. So once again, punching is where you give a specific word more emphasis than the other word. Elongation is where you enunciate the word a bit slower, or phrase the word or phrase a bit slower for dramatic effects. And pre-recognition is where you see each question, is where you phrase your sentence as a question. All right, the next one is curiosity, or the whisper effect. And basically what happens here is, okay, so what happens with the curiosity or the whisper effect is you want to signal that what's upcoming, what's coming after this word is a secret. So you're going to use words such as remember, and you're going to use words such as remember, or maybe the real secret, or the real reason for this is, and you're going to whisper while you're saying. Okay, so when you're saying these words, you want to whisper them. So for instance, here, so you could either say the secret to losing weight is, or you could be like, the secret to losing weight is, and then you've basically, you want them to lean in. You want them to be like, ooh, what is the secret? Okay, I gotta pay attention now. That's what you want them to do. And finally, it's the strategic pause. Okay, the strategic pause is where in the middle of a sentence, you just pause like that. Like that's all you gotta do. Basically, again, the key here is pattern interrupt. What you want to do, make sure you're doing, is interrupt the pattern. So if you're consistently talking at a specific level without interrupting the brain's pattern at all, then people are gonna get bored. Simple as. You're gonna get bored. So what you got to do for this strategic pause is just pause in the middle of it. So for this example here, so the example is never eat starchy carbs in the morning. This allows you, or you could read it as never eat starchy carbs. Oh no. Yeah, you could read this as never eat starchy carbs in the morning. This allows you, etc., etc. Okay, so one more time, I'm gonna go over all 5 just as a reminder quickly. So punching is the idea of putting emphasis on a specific word. Elongation is enunciating words a bit slower. Pre-recognition is the idea of framing a specific sentence as a question. Curiosity, or the whisper effect, is the idea of whispering a specific word that gets people to lean in and want to know more about it. And the strategic pause is just pausing for a few seconds in a very uncommon place. All right. I do want to add that you're not necessarily supposed to use this in every single sentence, because, well, you just don't. But especially when you're talking for an extended amount of time, or you have a message that you definitely want to catch their attention for, this is very, very common in advertisements and anything that needs to catch and keep your attention. Anything needs to catch and keep your attention, then you would use a variety of these to achieve that, really. Like that's what it is. But in like everyday casual, like if you're only talking for like a minute or so and just like to a friend, I mean, if it comes, like, it's good, like if you end up using it, because these are good things to do, and most of us do them. That sounds weird. Most of us do them, yeah, so I just want to point that out. Now, does anyone want to okay, so we're 4 people minus me, 4 people, right? So whoever wants to go first, just feel free to select whichever one you want, and I'm gonna write them all down here for you. Just 1 second.
Can I do the elongation?
Why? Because it's the easiest one.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it. Pre. All right. Ooh, I misspelled it.
Oh, we gotta make up sentences?
Yeah.
Oh,
You want me to come up with one for you?
yeah, go for it.
Okay. These chocolate chip cookies taste so good.
These chocolate chip cookies taste so good.
Nice. I like that. Okay.
They're not brownies, so no, I don't give him that.
Shut up, bro. Shut up.
Yeah,
All right.
Do you want a
I
part?
agree with you, by the way. I agree with you. You know brownies are number one. Like that's like a given at the stage. But so who wants to go next?
About any other one?
Yeah. So like elongation's taken.
Okay, I'll go for curiosity.
All right. You got a sentence?
Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so do you remember when we went last night to the bar?
Sorry,
That's all.
where is the whisper?
No, I think. Oh wait, I think I messed up between this one and the other one.
Oh, pre-recognition you were trying to do.
Maybe,
The
yeah.
one where you question it.
Yeah.
I noticed that. Okay, that's pre-recognition. All right, that's good. We'll call it pre-recognition. But yeah, that was good. I was questioning myself too, so that was really really good. I like that. All right, and ready again?
All right, I guess I'll go to strategic pause.
Strategic pause.
And
right.
by the way, does this what do you call it? Have to be any line that I say?
It could be anything. You can make up one. I can give you one. That's up to you.
All right, I got one.
All
right. Just remind me what a strategic pause is, because just want to make sure.
Yeah, so it's just where you we're at an.
I know it's
in the sentence at an uncommon place. You'll just pause for a few seconds.
All right. How about this? When you become the leader, people won't acknowledge you. It's when people acknowledge you that you become the leader.
That was so deep.
It's from an anime, so
My boy is going through some.
What?
it's from Naruto.
That was.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
From Naruto. Itachi, my man.
All right, cool. I like that. I gotta respect that. That was.
Oh, I got another one. All right.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Should I? Where should I go? Should I go left where nothing is right, or should I go right where nothing is left?
Okay.
You have to get it.
I do get it.
No, I do understand that.
Can you make the pauses just ever so slightly longer? It's like 2 to 3 seconds. I feel like it'd be a bit more dramatic in a situation like that.
Yeah.
Try again.
Okay. How about this? Hold up.
My man is turning off his camera to think.
Now I'm trying to think which one.
Either. Just the last one that you said.
Okay, I'll say the last one that I said, right?
Yeah, just go with that.
Okay. If you want to know who you are, you have to look at your real self and acknowledge what you see.
That's great. You should highly consider reading ebooks. Sorry, being one of those people who records ebooks.
Yeah, I mean,
Just like consider. I'm just saying.
mm,
Mod.
Right.
Okay, so let's do punching.
Damn, that's so rude.
Okay,
All right.
who we gotta punch?
What we
so let's see. We're gonna throw a random sentence, okay?
Go for it.
So the cow smacked the table. The cow was frustrated. What can I say? He smacked.
I got a question on the.
Wait, what was? You said there was a question?
Now, what would a cow be doing around the table? That's the first thing I thought.
We don't ask questions.
Bruh.
Ask questions. We let this should be a rule of thumb in life. We let Raid's examples just be. Like that's it.
That's why they tell you not to smack your meat.
What was that?
Yeah.
That's why they tell you not to smack your meat before eating.
Bro.
Uh,
Alright.
you smack your mate before she eats it.
Alright. Calm down now. Calm down. Alright, curiosity. I guess I'll just go with curiosity. So curiosity. Hold on, let me come up with a sentence quickly. Alright, ready? This is what we don't know much of, right? The secret to really, really, really good brownies is eating them.
No, it's my recipe.
Eating them, bro.
It's my recipe.
It's eating them. That's what it is. Alright, so that is basically a quick introduction to tonality. I want to quickly go over the most important part of this, the most important aspect of this, and it's that the more tones that you use, the more interesting you are. And once again, it's not about a specific tone that you use, but rather it's about using multiple tones at the same time. Sorry, using multiple tones throughout your conversation or throughout you speaking and whatnot. That is the key to having good tonality. All right. Does anyone have any questions about anything at all? So we're all good. All right. Then that is it. Sorry, I just have to do that. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And yeah, I'm gonna call that a day here. Let me stop there.